guys. Good morning, friends. Welcome to Rhea and Alka show. It's always amazing to have you and participate, engage with us. We've been talking about for the last 2 weeks about our journeys, our book, and how they've really inspired and just changed a lot of people's lives. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want to change your lives, whether in your personal or business life. That's what it's all about, because change is inevitable. And when you're growing and you're thriving, well, that's what we really care about. So Rhea and I are so grateful that you can join us this morning. So welcome. My name is Alka.
And my name is Rhea. Welcome to our show.
So welcome, guys. Welcome. And today we are going to be talking about Rhea's book, Apartment Prescriptions. And this book is such an easy read. It is just so beautifully laid out. And so I want to talk about chapter 4, Rhea, and you talk about how you got started in the business, first of all. But I think what is important before you get into any kind of investment, we want to know is how much money is required to put down on that property. So can you share with us, how did you get the finance?
Well, how much money is required, it depends, right? So I've heard of people saying zero money down. I've heard people do 20% down payment. So I have done 20% down payment, and the others, I've not done it personally, have done zero down. So it can be done both ways. Now, how to finance your property? Always think, who has the money? Robert Kiyosaki once said, don't think I cannot afford it. Think, how can I afford it? Because every time when you buy, your money in your pocket gets diminished every time when you're buying properties. So always think, how can I afford it? Who has the money? And just like what you mentioned before, Alka, you have to be in the right place at the right time, because being in the right place at the right time, you'll meet people who has the money. And
Exactly.
That could be, like George, he's the broker, right? So he has a lot of connections that can provide the lending. You can have friends which can become your partners, and you together can buy properties.
Exactly. And I love that. You know what? Being in the right place at the right time is the key. And I know, so many times I've been in so many other, events that, if I was looking for something, it wasn't quite real estate because I wasn't in the real estate game at that time. But, being around people, connections, that is the key, because knowing other people. So in this particular, we're talking about real estate. So you need, if you are looking for a property and how to get the financing, find people. So lenders, for example, are willing to lend you on that. So and also Rhea, so if you find, because sometimes your family are not going to be, in your vested interest. They're not always going to believe in your goals and your dreams that, that you have. So, your family, you can turn to them because it's OPM, other people's money. And learning how to leverage on other people's money is also the key. So, Rhea, could you explain to the viewers, how did you eventually, from that one property, that one investment, you purchased and you got so many units? How did you manage to get that? And did you have to do the OPM method What's your strategy?
Yes, I can't divulge everything. They have to get my book, Apartment Prescription. It's available in Amazon, or they can contact me. Speaking of that, I will have a challenge, investinmoreproperties.com, and I will tell them they're my secret. So,
There you
but,
go. She's going to share it with you.
but yes, I can share one, which is other people's money. So use your power base, right? Power base is one of the ways where you can, do the OPM or other people's money. Power base would be your immediate family members. It could be your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your aunts, your cousins, your uncles. And then you can turn to your rich friends, right? So those are your power base. So if you have wealthy friends and family members, then try to go to them. Share them, right? Share them the story of, growing passive income and growing generational wealth. And hopefully they believe in you, they believe in your story, and they can lend you money. Now, it's very important because these are your family and friends. You have to pay them what you owe them plus interest. Don't just, just feel that because they are your family members that, okay, thank you, I won't be able to pay you. No, in order for you to get more money in the long run, it's very important that you have to pay your family and friends. And plus interest. Don't forget to pay the interest as well.
Right, exactly. Well, that's a good point, because not many of us would, think about, okay, so we want to borrow, say, from the relatives, a family. It might just be like an easy thing to do. Okay, we'll just have to ask them. They might say yes or no. But if they don't, should we just pay them? Or should we just pay them with interest on that, thinking that they will, lend us the money? Because it could work both ways, right?
Yes. So when I borrowed from my mother-in-law, I paid her with interest. So when you borrow, guys, it's very important that number one, you have to respect that it's their hard-earned money. They work hard for it. They paid it with blood and sweat and tears. So you have to return that money. And number two, you've got to grow that money and pay them with interest and more. So doing that, now that they trust you, that you're able to do what you told them, which is to grow their money, then they're more willing to let you, borrow the next time when you have a second deal and the third deal. And then they'll also refer you to other family members or friends. So now you have more people, OPM, other people's money that you can tap into.
Exactly. And that's always the key, OPM, learning how we can leverage on other people's money, whether friends or family. I mean, just using the strategy, knowing how it can be like a win-win. So once you understand how it could be a win-win, then, you can come up with strategies to suit yourself, and, how you would go about asking. Rhea, I was interested to know about the 80-20%. Could you explain to the viewers, what does 80%, what do you mean by that, 80-20%?
Sure. 80-20% loan to value. So when you buy a property, you can buy it out cash. That means you have 100% of the money coming from you to buy that property. Now, what I do, I borrow 80% from the bank or the lender. So 20% of it is from my own pocket. So I only need 20% to buy the whole property. I do not have to buy the whole property using 100% of my money, because doing that, if I have $100,000 in cash and the property is 100,000, for example, if I use 100% of it, then that 100% just goes to one property. Now, let's say I do the 80-20. So 80% goes to the bank, 20% comes from me, right? So if I have 20,000, I can purchase one property. To 80% comes from the bank, 20% comes from me. Now I still have 80,000 left. So then I can look at another deal that's worth, let's say, for example, 100,000. 80-20 of that, 80% from the bank, 20% from me. I can use another 20,000 of my 100,000. So that leaves me with 60,000. So basically I could buy 5 properties if I have 100,000 using the 80-20% loan to value. So 20% on property 1, 20% on property 2, 20% on property 3, 20% on property 4, 20% on property 5, a total of 100,000 of cash coming from me. So I'm not buying one, but I'm able to buy 5 using the 80-20.
That is awesome. That is so amazing. So I guess at the end of the day, it always comes down to numbers. How are you actually positioning yourself to buy in accumulation of properties? Right?
Yes, they will learn that in my webinar.
There you go.
We will do that in my masterclass too. So I cannot divulge all the sauce in here, but yes, doing the apartment math, the calculation or the underwriting is very important because number one, if you remember Warren Buffett's rule, number one is never ever lose money. And rule number 2 is never ever forget rule number 1, which is never ever lose money, right?
Exactly.
So doing the apartment math is important. And I'll show you in my masterclass, we actually go through the apartment map. So come check out my webinar, my masterclass. It's available if you're interested to growing, to knowing more about apartment investing and growing and scaling your apartments.
Well, that you've heard it right there. You know, if you want to learn how to grow and scale your apartment, your properties, then, you come and learn from Rhea because she's done it, she's doing it, and she is successful in how she's positioned herself in the real estate world and also how she's accumulated properties. So, you know what? Rule number 1, don't lose money. So number 2 is, don't lose money. Follow number 2 rule, follows number 1 rule is don't lose money. So there you go. Rhea, so if people do not have the cash in hand to buy the properties, line of credit will be the best way.
Yes, if they do. I mean, if you do not own your primary home, right? You probably are renting then, and if you're working, right? So you need to save. Number 1, what I do is I pay myself first. So I put aside 10% of my income for investment funds and I do not touch that. So I just keep it on the side. I stack it until it goes up, right? Let's say, for example, 10,000 and I save some more until it goes up to 20,000. So if you don't have any property, if you do not own your primary home residence, of course, you cannot tap into the line of credit. So what you need is to put an investment fund, stack it, just wait until you reach 20,000. It depends on the property you're buying. So it needs to be more than 20,000 because you do need closing costs. And then that's when you can use the cash. Now, let's say you have a primary home. Yes, you can do the line of credit, which you can tap to buy your first apartment.
So how would people sort of go about creating an investment fund? Because I would imagine an investment fund would be something like a nest egg that you can just kind of like just leverage on if you wanted to. Is that what an investment fund looks like?
So I do have an emergency fund as well. Emergency fund, that's what it is. It's for emergency. It's not used for investment. I also have the basic necessities in life, right? That's the day-to-day fund. So the emergency fund is different. The day-to-day activities is different. And then the investment fund is also different. So if your current W-2 job is not paying you a lot, that's when you have to be creative. That's where you have to look for other sources of income. So either we look at around our houses, what we can sell, to see, if you have a lot of bags, or if you have a lot of shoes, or if you have a second car that's just sitting in the garage and costing you insurance, a car insurance, then you may have to consider selling that property. Or you may have to look for, I know other people are doing, like Gary Vaynerchuk, he goes around looking at secondhand stuff and then trying to sell it, right? So you can do that too. You have to look for side hustles, for other sources of income. And that second source of income is where you can put your investment fund.
That is amazing. That really is, because obviously, viewers are going to get a chance to, like, oh, okay, maybe that's not what they might have thought of. So by sharing these ideas, just thinking outside the box as to what you could do, look around your home and, sell some things off. I mean, I have so many things in my home, shoes, clothes that I just want to just get rid of. But, but just looking around your home, and if there's something that's of value that you think, if you wanted to purchase a property, then what you might want to sell could be going towards that property. So that's a very good point. And, viewers are going to get a very good idea. Okay, maybe that's what I need to do if I want to, purchase a particular property. Now, also, you talk about syndication financing. Could you explain to the viewers what is meant by syndication financing?
Well, when you buy, so syndication is a term called operators. It's basically a group of people trying to buy a big apartment complex. And I initially thought, when you're buying this big apartment complexes, that you just buy it yourself. And until recently, I learned that even, you and I were part of the 10X real estate mastermind. You and I and a group of other peoples in our mastermind could buy this big apartment complexes. So where we pool our money and we pool our net worth together, we pool our liquidity, we pool our experience in running the apartment business, then we are able to buy this big apartment complexes. So syndication or operators are a group of people who have the net worth, liquidity, and experience, and are able to buy this big apartment complexes. So you don't have to have all the money to buy this big apartment complex. You just have to have a portion of it, and you have the team that have the net worth, liquidity, and experience to buy this big apartment complex.
Absolutely. I think, what, that's the key too, is having a team around you, so that even if you, say, are not as experienced into that, the property and the day-to-day management, etc. If you're not experienced, but you have a team who can, who you can leverage, who you can truly sort of grow and learn, and you're all in it together, which is going to make it worthwhile, Rhea. So having a team around you is really going to be the key. But also, I think what is the key here is education.
I agree.
Education. I mean, you need to educate yourself by learning, investments in real estate or stocks or any kind of investment. Because if you don't know anything about what you're getting into, there are higher chances, right, Rhea, that you're going to get burnt.
That's correct. Now,
and you don't want to do that. So
that is very true. Now, what I learned over the years is I do not have to be the smartest person in the room. I just need to be surrounded by more intelligent people around me.
Exactly. Be around you, have people around you that can show you, that can guide you as to, being in the right path. Because sometimes, we don't know everything. We may not know everything. So, and especially if it's your first time, if you're a beginner at investment, especially in real estate, then it's going to be, you want to be around people. You want to surround yourself with people who have been there, who have done that, and who have been successful, because you want to be there. You want to do what they are doing. So, Rhea, I think that is so important, that, they need to be around people, be around a team who can also show you and guide you as to where they want to go. So, anything else you would like to share with your viewers as to what they need to do from here on?
Yes, I'll be happy to share. I'm going to be doing an Invest in More Properties challenge coming soon. So
Wow.
stay tuned for that. I'll be doing Invest in More Properties challenge. So it's going to be in a few days, 2 weeks from now. If you want to get started, your first apartment. So join me in my Invest in More Properties challenge coming out soon.
That is amazing, friends. That is amazing. You want to, follow the challenge. I mean, challenge are a great experience for every one of us to just be involved in, because it's exciting and it's something. Challenge also makes us grow. You get out of the comfort zone. So follow the challenge, be there with Rhea, because I'm sure it's just going to be amazing. And so we want to thank you for joining us this morning. It's always an immense pleasure to have you guys. And so, you know what, any final words, Rhea, that you want to share with us?
Invest in More Properties challenge. Let us go. Wealth cannot wait, physicians. Let us go. Invest in More Properties challenge.
Exactly. So there you go. So with that, friends, we want to say goodbye. Have an amazing weekend, and we will see you at the same time, same place, Monday morning.
Take care. God bless. See you
Bye, guys.
Monday.
Bye.
Bye.